And even that 10% African was extraordinarily involved in making it what it is.
You won't find a painting, you won't find a statue, you won't find a monument anywhere prior to 1500 that isn't Africoid in some way, shape, or form. Black folk don't have a problem. White folk got a problem. Black folk problem is that white folk got a problem. The real problem we have is white supremacy. The real problem we have is the perception people have of us.
1790 up until 1965, the immigration laws were almost zero for black folk. You had a zero immigration law for black folk. Because you're destined to be a planned minority. You know what a minority means? That means a loser. It means you're a loser. It's very difficult to control a group of people militarily because eventually the money will run out if you try to control a group of people militarily. And also the possibility of them raising up against you is always imminent. So it's best to control the people psychologically.
When you conquer a people, you have two choices. One, you have to commit an act of genocide. Either you wipe them out completely, complete act of genocide so that you can take over the resources of the land. Or you kill the warrior class of these people and you enslave the children and the elderly. This is just war history. In our situation, meaning those that live in the United States, the choice was enslavement, not genocide. That means that from a child, you have to be taught that everything about you is wrong. Everything about who you were and where you came from is wrong. And I mean wrong, immoral and illegal.
Melanin is a neurochemical that is produced in part through the pituitary and the pineal gland. They both play a central role in the production of melanin, which is ultimately responsible for the color that we have in our skin. Now, historically, it had always been thought that melanin played a significant role in the intellectual propensity of African people. For example, when you study some of the Greek writings on melanin or the color of Africans, many of the Greek philosophers believed that melanin played some sort of a role in how Africans have been able to create and develop some of the sciences that they had come to be known for. So melanin was always considered an intellectual sort of a chemical.
The pineal gland, which produces melanin, it's shaped like a pine cone. And the origin of the word pineal literally means resembling a pine cone. Now, in ancient symbolisms, the pine cone has always been represented because people knew the importance of the pineal gland as it related to melanin and the universe.
Melanin is a molecule, and the concept of melanin is it is black in its nature, and we find it in the cosmos, we find it in the heavens, we find it in water, we find it in land, we find it in everything that exists.
The sperm of the male and the egg of the woman, they're both layered with melanin. So that when the sperm penetrates the egg, there is a melanin explosion. And that melanin helps to formulate the fetus within that egg. And that fetus is literally coated with a melanin substance. And that melanin substance then goes on to form the brain and the central nervous system. So every human being begins with a melanin explosion. Melanin is an intelligence. It's an intelligence because it is the dynamic, the primary dynamic in every part of the cell. It's a primary dynamic in the core of the human being as well as to the surface of the human being. Its intelligence is responsible for the forming of the nervous system. Every part of the nervous system has these little black dots all through it, which essentially carry information. melanin from a physical standpoint is that substance that accounts for what black people refer to as soul. We move differently, we walk differently, we talk differently because we have access to a different form of energy than other folk.
Not only is melanin a pigment, which is so obvious, but melanin as an intelligence is a communications module that essentially broadcasts as well as receives information by way of light and sound frequency signatures.
I just wanted to pause briefly. This is Yermiyah, YOSHSHAALIA, Benyahrael, and this is Real Talk. And the topic, the name of this topic is called Returning Back to Our Original Origins. Returning back to our original origins. This movie called Hidden Color Part 2. Now, I don't agree with all the scholars that are on here on every single thing. But what I will agree with is the fact that there's a war against those of us who are melanated people. The more melanin you got, the more hatred you have. The less melanin you have, the more hostile you seem to be. Now, even amongst our people, if you look at those who are less melanated, who deprive themselves of the sun in the summertime, more hostile people. Caucasian people are very hostile towards those of us who are melanated. They're very quick to rape our women and our children. They're very quick to hurt us by all kind of means. But they also need us so that they can survive. So they experiment on us. They harvest our body part. That's why a lot of young so-called African American men, Israelite men, die on these streets because they are harvesting their body parts. The police officers know how much kidneys, lungs, hearts, etc. go for. So they go out there and create a reason for killing a black man. No justification, just to harvest their body parts and sell them on the black market. You best believe that's what they're doing. It might sound gruesome to others, and most people might not believe it. That's because you don't believe anything that these people could do any wrong because they're so white and they're so bright, so they got to be right. But they're dead wrong. And history proves what I'm saying. The eugenics project, abortion, Planned Parenthood, using fetuses inside of food, eating fetuses over in other countries. The fact that white people cannot produce and their children a lot of times are born sick and of need of organs, what better organ to have than someone who is highly melanated and can absorb the vitamin D from the sun, who they know through experiments that it's very hard to kill us unless they physically just kill us. Poison cannot kill us the way that they die. They sit back and watch throughout generations how we survive and multiply and how they are the actual less people on this planet. So now their job, and this is a very critical thing for them, is to eradicate those who are melanated. See, they want to use us and use our body parts to save themselves and their race, but they're trying to get rid of us. And we're sitting back and just allowing these things to happen. They're sitting back discussing how to eradicate melanated people, while we're sitting back talking about Lil Wayne and Jeezy and all this other foolishness. Beyonce and the award shows and BET award shows, while they're sitting back talking about how to kill us, how to go into the black community by using some house Negroes that will sell out their mothers for 10 cents, pump drugs in our community, start a war on drugs, have ex-Marines and ex-ops sit up in abandoned homes and abandoned properties and shoot people from a distance, and then cause a war between the drug lords on the streets to cause mass murders out there for their agenda. When they come and get the bodies, they getting the bodies, they chopping the bodies up, they're taking out the organs and they're selling them. Because they don't want old men, alcoholics and drug addicts. They want those young men between the ages of 15, 16 to 17 years old, or between the ages of 20 to 35 years old. Those who haven't been smoking that long and haven't been abusing their bodies that long, to harvest their bodies and their organs so they can survive. But yet, we think that these people love us. They can care nothing about us. These people are animalistic, beastly, low, base nation. That the Moorish Muslims who helped enslave us taught them. Now these same people have wiped them out and taken their land and given it to their children from the Moorish Muslims, the dark Muslims that they raped, and the children from that are the ones running all the oil fields now. And the original ones of Ishmael are being chopped in pieces and body parts are being harvested as well for helping them. Just like the Africans that helped the Europeans and the Muslims. Look what they got in return. So now we must, as Israel, stand up and fight for our people here in this country, and we must leave. We must vacate this Yah-forsaken land. It is our land because we own the whole earth. But right now we need to be on safe ground. Ground where we come from, our original origin, to get back into the roots of that ground and get the nourishment out that ground instead of all the pesticides and germicides that are in this ground. We need to get back so that we can be in harmony with the universe, to receive the knowledge from the Eternal One, from the Creator, on how to replenish this earth and wait on the Messiah who's coming back to set things in order from the planet that he's on. Not heaven as some mystical place, but there are planets, galaxies, beyond galaxies, the Most High, the Creator of all things. If you read in the book of Abraham, how it talks about Abraham was in the seventh heaven, and then he came down to the sixth heaven and stood on a mountain. That means he was on a planet, on a mountain. We need to learn how to gravitate like Abraham did. We need to learn how to, grab the energy from the universe that the Creator made so that we can fight and save this earth which we come from. Because these non-melanated people hate the earth, just like they hate us. See, they rape the earth and destroy the earth because the earth don't love them and spews them out. You've been listening to Yermiyah, YOSHSHAALIA, Benyahrael, and this is Real Talk. Preparing to leave this place should be the number one priority, and protecting yourself.
Scholars and scientists have been having conferences about melanin, to my awareness, at least since the 1920s.
The pineal glands of most of our white brothers and sisters are calcified, and so they make less melanin. And that comes from the historical relationship to what we call the Yermiyah Ice Age, that 10,000 years of glacial freezing that happened in Europe after the Africans who were the Grimaldi moved up there. And so it became the survival of the fittest, who was able to adapt could survive. Who wasn't able to adapt died. So those people who were able to get rid of their melanin was able to survive. Those who could not get rid of the melanin, they died.
These scientists said that the pineal gland, they refer to the pineal gland as a vestigial organ. That is a calcified gland within the body that serves no purpose. As if the Creator would create something that you didn't need. And it was only after the Vietnam War, in the late 60s and early 70s, that they began to rewrite the interpretation of the pineal gland. The reason for that was that a large number of African Americans fought and died during the Vietnam War. And whenever a soldier dies, there's an autopsy that's performed before their body is sent back to Dover Air Force Base. And what they discovered, what these physicians discovered, is that when they performed the autopsies, the 75 to 80% of the African American soldiers had a large functioning pineal gland. The pineal gland is normally about the size of your thumb. So it was not a vestigial organ in 70 to 80% of African Americans, but it is a calcified organ in 75 to 80% of people with European ancestry. So they began to reevaluate the pineal gland. They began to reevaluate melanin.
I think if you talk to Dr. Weldon, she'll tell you this is about genetic annihilation or genetic survival. Okay? It's about genetics. Who will survive America? Who will survive the world? Whose genetics will hold up? What is going to be the genetic or the genotype that's on the planet 1,000 years from now? Will it be white? Will it be brown? Will it be black? And so you find that the elements of the human family that find themselves suffering from the ecology that we're in, they're struggling to survive and to be able to maintain themselves. All nations, European nations and America, white Americans, are at minus birth rate right now. Not zero birth rate, but they're keeping up with the natural death. They're at minus birth rate. And so that's why there's so much emphasis on artificial birth creation and other ways to have babies and make babies that are beyond the normal. And you'll also find that this adopting black babies, the Haiti thing, getting the children out of Central African Republic and Chad, adopting Filipino babies, Latino babies by the white community on such a high level is to infuse their gene pool with the melanin.
A few years ago, the president of Chad, a man by the name of Idris Deby, he had a group of French charity workers arrested after it was found out that they were kidnapping children from that area. Now, Deby accused them of stealing the children from their parents and planning to sell the children to pedophile rings up in Europe. He also accused them of possibly planning to kill the children to sell their organs. Now, this is the president of Chad saying this, and this was a big scandal with the Chadian government and the French government. So we need to understand everything that's going on with people going into Africa trying to get these children up out of here. There's a war being waged on melanated people, and melanated people, people of color, should realize that a war is going on. A lot of melanated people do not realize that this war is going on, and this war is going on an educational front. There's a spiritual warfare, there's a medical warfare, there's a prison industrial warfare, and there's an economic warfare being imposed on people of color, especially in America.
Now, after hearing these things that have been explained to you by your Akis, your elders, from extensive studies on melanin, on the war on our people, on different geographical areas of exploitation of our people, there can be only one conclusion: for our people to leave from amongst these other people, separate ourselves. Separate ourselves. I had to pause. Because we don't want to separate. We want to stay up under these people. The scriptures tell us, separate yourself. Do not be unevenly yoked. What do you have to do with someone who wants to destroy the earth that you and I need to grow crops? Who wants to pollute the water? So separate yourself from these beastly people. Now those who want to keep the commandments of the Most High and live the way the Bible tells us to live, then we stay with these people if they continue in the truth. But those who want to do evil and just annihilate our people, just wipe us out, we must fight against these people on every level. Like I said before, they're harvesting our body parts. So any one of us at any time while we out in the street, if they see us and they got a mortgage due, or their child needs some money to go to college, and because of the drug epidemic is ending, where they're not getting drug money no more, and a lot of the young men are not out there participating in the drug game no more, they have to find other ways of getting body parts. That's why our children are coming up missing all over this country, all over this world. They are committing unrighteous acts on us. And we can't continue to sit back and allow this at all. Your main objective should be getting your children, your Isha, this is for the men, out of this country. Thinking of ways of making money this summer instead of spending money to get your family out of here. There are several places in this world where they have no crime rate that even comes close to United States, or these United States, or this Americas. My brothers and my sisters, my Akis and my Kodis, my Imams and my elders, I am crying out as one in the wilderness and telling you to repent unto the Most High. Tell them that you're sorry. Get back into this truth of our teachings that was given to our people on how to replenish the earth, to give the earth rest, how to treat your neighbor as you treat yourself. These laws, these righteous laws, these universal laws that keep peace, that was given to us by the Creator of all things and everything that is, that was, or shall be. We have to get back to that, and we can't do that here. We can't do that here because our children get caught up with Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Nicki Minaj, and all the demonic, wicked, evil people who have sold their souls for crumbs and a Happy Meal. We must get away from these people, and we must go home to our original origins, where the land is pure and the water is pure. We must act on this now. This summer shall be a turning point for the nation of Yisrael, for those who have persecuted us, those who have unjustly slandered, murdered, raped, robbed us, shall die by the sword this summer. For death, disease, and destruction shall go on all the children of Goyim that hurts the children of Yisrael, YOSHSHAALIA. All the children, no matter who you look like, that are the seed of Esau, or the seed of other nations that are connected and destroying the children of light, this summer, death, disease shall come to all of y'all. And you will start seeing it. Your jobs, your homes shall be plagued with disease, pestilence. I call upon the messengers that carry out vengeance for the Creator, for when those who hurt His children, to carry this message out to the enemies of the Creator and the enemies of His children, the children of light. And for those who are other nations who love the children of light and love the Creator of the children of light and choose to do the will of the Most High, I am on your side. For you are for the Creator, and I am for the Creator.